who are you? So in the forex markets, there are 24 hours a day, but that doesn't mean we should be trading 24 hours a day, or we should be trading, depending on where we're at. So first and foremost, where do you live? What part of the world do you live in? And really make it easy on yourself. I believe that you can trade when it works for you. I have a very hard time believing that people can go to work all day, come home maybe to a family, and then say, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to work at the markets for 5 or 6 or 7 hours and basically sleep for 2 or 3 hours a day. So I have a very hard time believing that people who work all day and have a job and have a boss looking over their shoulder, whatever it is, can go ahead and be day traders. And that's where some people get goofed up and get messed up. And, they try and basically make the markets work for them. You guys, okay, are a puzzle. Each one of you is a puzzle. I actually woke up in the middle of the night thinking about this the other night. Each one of you is a puzzle, and the market is just this big, huge mess of puzzle pieces out there. Well, you've got to take your puzzle piece and fit it in somewhere in there. It'll fit, but if you're realistic about who you are, then I think you can get it to fit somewhere, and I think you can have some success. Someone said, I'm trying to get some results from Forex for the last 3 years, but now nothing. I'm a dummy head? Absolutely not. Maybe you didn't go through this process and realize what you can achieve. So I don't think there's any dummies out there. I think that you just have to take a step back and go through this process. Let me just give you a case example. I was working, someone wanted to work with me, and they told me about their situation and their account size and how much they were working at their primary job and their family situation and kids and things like that. And I said, what do you do for a living? And they told me their profession. And so we started to talk about it because they actually owned a small business. And then I said, what are your goals with Forex? And he said, I want to make 25% per month. Okay. And 25% per month is very common. A lot of people want to do that. They want to make 100% per month, whatever it may be. And so I said, as a business owner, can you make 25% per month, month over month over month? He goes, no way. I said, even if you work 24 hours a day and never slept and never visited your kids and your family, whatever it was, could you make that money? He goes, no, there's not enough business out there. I said, what gives you the right to be brand new, come into the Forex markets, compete with people like me who basically want to rip people's heads off who come in undisciplined and say, I'm going to be brand new at this. I can't focus on it all the time, and I'm going to make 25% per month. That's an unrealistic expectation, all right? So a question, I'm just trying to bounce back and forth. Did you choose to be a scalper, or are you led into this section? I'm not sure if I understand that question, so maybe you can retype it. The bottom line is, you guys, as I put in that outline, please be realistic. Not everybody can be a scalper. Not everyone can be a day trader. You've got to figure out what's right for you. So make it easy on yourself. You can trade when it works for you. You have your schedule. You've got to work around your schedule, whatever it may be. If you're retired and you have all the time in the world, great. If you're working and that's your primary source of income, that's got to be your focus. Focus on that first. Don't give up your day job. And as people come home from work, wherever they are around the world, and then they turn on the Forex markets because they're moving, they want to trade them, how much do you know about every banking center in the world? I live in the United States. I don't try and trade in the middle of the night when Australia and New Zealand are going against each other as far as their currency, because I don't live in Australia and I don't live in New Zealand, and I have no idea what's going on in their banking center. Yes, I can look online and I can use FXStreet for analysis and things like that, but I'm not there, okay? I'm in America. There's one currency pair right there called USD. That's one. I understand that currency. Now I have to compare it to something else. So make sure that you're understanding where you are and what's basically achievable for you as far as trading in time frames. Again, a case example, the trading of the Euro GBP during European equity session. So if you live in Europe, that might be a good one for you, or if you're, over towards the Far East, that might be a better one for you than trading a U.S. one that is closed maybe when you're up. So again, it all depends on when you're able to be in front of the markets. And a major question that I think people forget to ask, how much time in front of the markets per day? How many hours can you be in front of the markets, and is it consistent? You cannot turn on the computer for 45 minutes and say, I'm going to be a day trader and try and get a trade off, or a scalper, and then close it and then come back 4 hours, 5 hours later, turn the computer on for an hour and try and be a day trader. when I work with people, day traders must be in front of the markets for at least 5 to 6 hours consistently in a row. So there's a question, are scalpers usually impatient people? Yes, if they're trying to scalp around their schedule. If you say the markets are this and scalpers are required to be right here, what I just talked about, 5 to 6 hours a day, there's no reason to be impatient. And we're going to talk about volatility and what's going on with the markets right now. There is no doubt about it, the markets are interesting right now. They're providing opportunity. They may not be providing the opportunity that traders of 15 years like I've been around are used to, because they actually are less volatile. And that's something that if you don't understand that and aren't aware of that, that should be new information for you today. So you don't need to be impatient if you understand what the markets are giving you and that you have all day to make a trade. And if you don't make a trade today as a day trader or a scalper, that's just fine. If you don't make a trade tomorrow, that's just fine. If you don't make a trade the next day, that's just fine. Let the markets tell you when it's time to trade. So another question, do you concentrate on only one FX pair when scalping, or you scan 3 to 4 volatile pairs for best setups? I have no problem telling you what I'm focusing on. Like I said, I'm here in the United States. I understand this economy, and I focus on 6 U.S. majors. All right, pound U.S. dollar, euro U.S. dollar, Aussie U.S. dollar, New Zealand U.S. dollar, U.S. Canadian, and U.S. Swiss franc. Just like in equity markets, I work with people that don't even know about forex or would never touch forex. I work with people in the equity markets. They don't get 1,000 equities that are out there or 10,000 that are out there in the Dow Jones, and all over the place. They get 10 to 15 to 20. They get a watch list that they can afford to trade. So it's very, very finite as far as the rules that are created. So that's a very, very good question. The watch list, develop a watch list, be proactive. So a watch list for you, depending on where you're at around the world and what's moving and what you're trading, that's what you can start to develop. So account size, and again, this is strictly my opinion. If you have less than $10,000 to $15,000 in your U.S. dollars in your account, I think that you're forced to be a day trader in forex, because you don't necessarily have the account size to trade for a long time, for days and days, and risk the right amount to make the right amount as a long-term trader. So if you're dealing with 2,000, 5,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, something like that, you're probably going to be a day trader. But the question you have to ask yourself is, do you have the time to be a day trader? And so that's it. And so trust me, the markets aren't for everybody, and forex may not be for everybody, but there are markets out there that I think are right for everybody. You just have to make sure that you understand it out there. So the forex markets, like I said, are unbelievable. They're a great kind of segue in between options, which are somewhat leveraged, and futures, which are too leveraged for most people out there and require too much money to be put up and can be very, very volatile and very decimating to an account, because with forex, as you know, you get stopped out before your account goes negative, or depending on the amount of leverage you're using. With futures, the markets can run and run against you. You can lose everything in your account. You can lose your house. You can lose more than you ever had as these firms come after you if you make a mistake. So if you're struggling right now finding out who you are as a market trader, definitely don't jump into futures. I think forex is the right place to be, but you've got to approach it the right way. So the 0 to 10 might be pushing it. Maybe 10 and above you could get to be a longer term trader, but between 0 and 10 roughly, I think that you need to be a day trader. That means you need to spend 4 to 5 hours a day trading. You can't really put on long-term positions with that account size.